After this tutorial you will be able to understand what means the word copyright. Be aware of the protection period of a copyright work. Recognize when is occurring an infringement. Be familiar with the infringement's exceptions as fair use and exempted use. Be aware of examples where permission is required. According to Metzinger in 2008, copyright is a federal law that aims to protect the rights of a content creator. It's important to establish that the protected work need not be unique. Duboff and Kind in 2009 give an example of that. They explain that if two artists by coincidence create works that are virtually identical to each other without copying, each will be entitled to copyright protection if the other requirements of the statute are present. We can identify the copyright notice with the international symbol, the name of the copyright owner and the year of first publication. Duboff and Kind, in 2009, explained that if the copyrighted works were created on, or after January 1, 1978, the period of protection is the life of the creative person plus 7 years. But, if the work is anonymously under a pseudonym for a business entity, it is protected for 120 years from creation or 95 years from first publication, whichever period occurs first. Copyrights that predate January 1, 1978, have a period of protection of 75 years. Finally, when the work is no longer protected, it changes its status to public domain. Occur a copyright infringement when an unauthorized person makes illegal copies or derivative pieces of a copyright work without permission of the creative person. For example, according to Bartram in 2009, access to works on the internet does not automatically mean that these can be reproduced and reused without permission or royalty payment. Duboff and Amp. King in 2009 affirmed that not every copying of a protected work is an infringement. Exist two types of non-infringing use, fair use and exempted use. The Copyright Act of 1976 recognizes that copies of a protected work for criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research can be considered fair use. Beside that, Starkman in 2008 expressed that as an assumption to believe that copyright doesn't apply to education because the fair use does exempt schools from some copyright infringement restrictions, but sets conditions on what constitutes fair use. According to Bartram, in 2009, the term fair use is a doctrine in copyright law that allows limited use of copyrighted material without requiring permission from the rights holder. Duboff and King, in 2009, explained that exist four criteria to be considered to determine fair use. These are, number 1, purpose and character of the use. Number 2, nature of the copyrighted work. Number 3, amount and substantiality of the portion used. And, number 4, effect of the use upon the potential market for, or value of, the copyrighted work. In motion media the portion limitation is up to 10%, or 3 minutes. In a text material it is up to 10%, or 1,000 words. Regarding to music, lyrics, and music video the limitation is up to 10%, or 30 seconds. Concerning to illustrations and photographs, may be used in its entirety, but no more than 5 images by an artist or photographer may be reproduced, or otherwise, incorporated as a part of an educational multimedia project. And, if it is from a published collective work not more than 10%, or 15 images. Finally, in numerical data sets it is up to 10%, or 2,500 fields or cell entries. According to ADEC, in 2002, permission is required when the multimedia projects will be used for non-educational or commercial purposes, or duplication and distribution of multimedia projects beyond limitations. It's always important to credit the sources and display the copyright notice and ownership. Things to remember. Copyright is a law that protects the rights of a content creator. To make illegal copies, or derivative pieces of a copyright work, incur in an infringement and that is punishable by law. Exist two types of non-infringing use, fair use and exempted use, but these two are also limited. And finally, it's important and essential to credit the sources correctly.